Imagine seeing the world through the eyes of a god, discovering hidden patterns and sacred geometries that weave all of nature together. In this journey, guided by Thoth, the god of wisdom, we will uncover the divine structures that underlie all life. From the spiral of a seashell to the patterns of galaxies, you will never see the world the same way again. In a time before time itself, when the universe still rested in the embrace of darkness, a thought emerged. This thought was not an idea, but an impulse, a glimpse of order within chaos. And from that first vibration, I, Thoth, was born. Not as a human, but as consciousness, as an observer and the scribe of creation. For countless ages, I have witnessed how creation dances through patterns, forms, and numbers. And it is precisely here that our journey begins. To humans, reality is often divided between the visible and the invisible, the concrete and the abstract. They see trees, but not how the branches follow exact mathematical principles. They see the ocean's waves, but don't understand the spiral laws that govern their movement. Nature's beauty hides a secret. It is coded in geometry. Not the kind taught in school, but a living, sacred geometry that mirrors the structure of the universe. This geometry can be traced back to the oldest civilizations: Egypt, Mesopotamia, India, China. Symbols like the flower of life, Metatron's cube, and the Sri Yantra were not created for decoration, but to carry knowledge. They convey the truth that all life is connected through form and frequency. For thousands of years, humanity has forgotten this wisdom, but it continues to live on in nature's language. In patterns you see every day without knowing what they mean. Picture a seashell. It coils in a spiral, not randomly, but according to the Fibonacci sequence. A tree extends its branches at angles that maximize sunlight. Again, a mathematically optimized pattern. Flowers bloom in golden proportions. Everything in nature seeks harmony, and this harmony is expressed through numbers. Once you begin to understand this, you realize the world around you is not just beautiful. It is intelligently designed. My calling as Thoth is not to convince you with belief, but to show you what has always been there, right before your eyes. Sacred geometry is not merely symbolism, but a bridge between matter and spirit. When you learn to see the patterns, a new dimension of reality opens up. You will not only understand nature better, you will understand yourself. For you too are part of this web, shaped by the same laws. This journey, my friend, will forever change the way you see. At the heart of the eternal pattern that governs the cosmos lies a symbol so powerful, so universal, that it has been preserved in stone, etched into temples, and passed down through secret societies for millennia: the flower of life. What may appear at first glance as a simple collection of overlapping circles, in reality conceals one of the most fundamental structures in all of existence. The flower of life is a symbol, but also a map. It contains patterns like Metatron's cube, the seed of life, and the 5 Platonic solids. Figures that are not only geometrically perfect, but also represent the fundamental building blocks of all matter. From atomic scale to planetary motion, everything can be traced back to these forms. When circles are overlapped with precise distance and alignment, a symphony of ratios and proportions emerges that mirrors the structure of the entire universe. Historically, this symbol appears in cultures that had no physical contact: Egypt's Osiris temple, ancient Chinese sanctuaries, Indian temples, and even in Norse runes and Celtic ornamentation. How can such a specific pattern emerge independently across the globe? The answer is simple. It is not man-made, it is discovered. The flower of life is an archetype, a universal truth embedded in the very fabric of reality. What makes the flower of life extraordinary is its ability to generate more complex forms. Within the pattern, we first find the seed of life, 7 circles symbolizing the 7 days of creation. As you expand it, the Trinity appears, and ultimately Metatron's cube emerges, which contains all the Platonic solids. This means that, with just one circle and its replicas, the entire three-dimensional universe can be constructed. But the meaning doesn't stop at physics or aesthetics. For mystics and spiritual masters, the flower of life functions as a meditation tool. By focusing on the pattern, brain activity synchronizes with the rhythm of the universe. Some report visions, light, and even out-of-body experiences. It is as if the symbol functions as a doorway to higher consciousness. The flower of life is not just beautiful. It is a reminder, a key. It tells us that there is order in chaos, structure in apparent randomness. And when you begin to see this pattern, not just in symbols, but in nature, in architecture, in music, and in your own DNA, then you understand. You are made of the same pattern. You are the flower of life. All around us in nature, we see repetition, flowers spiraling in their bloom, trees branching with precision, and shells growing in proportions that seem anything but random. Behind these patterns lies a universal mathematics discovered, not invented, by humans, and which I, Thoth, have always known to be a key to understanding the divine. The Fibonacci sequence and the golden ratio. The Fibonacci sequence begins simply 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13. Each new number is the sum of the two previous ones. This simple pattern appears again and again in living organisms. Think of the sunflower's seeds, which spiral in two directions, often in 34 and 55 spirals, both Fibonacci numbers. Or the scale pattern of a pineapple, where spirals follow the numbers 5, 8, and 13. These are not coincidences. They are laws embedded in the growth of nature. As you go further along the Fibonacci sequence, the ratio between two consecutive numbers approaches a fixed value, 1.618, known as phi, or the golden ratio. This proportion has long been considered the most aesthetically pleasing, used by artists, architects, and even composers. But nature came first. For example, seashells grow in a logarithmic spiral based on this ratio, which allows for expansion without changing shape. But why this shape? Because it is optimal. It provides the most efficient use of space and growth, whether in leaves, spreading to maximize sunlight, or in galaxies spinning with minimal energy loss. Everything in nature, from DNA spirals to the eye of a hurricane, bears witness to phi. In the human body, we see it in the ratios from fingertip to wrist, wrist to elbow, and beyond. Our entire anatomy is based on the golden structure. The architects of ancient temples and Renaissance painters knew this intuitively. Or perhaps they, like me, remembered this knowledge from a deeper source. The Parthenon in Greece, Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man, and pyramid constructions all reflect this golden proportion. But this is not only about beauty, it is about harmony with the structure of the universe. When we study Fibonacci and phi, we see that nature does not grow randomly but follows an order that leads to balance and sustainability. It is a mathematical symphony, and you are a part of it. Your body, your cells, even the rhythm of your breath and heartbeat follow these principles. It is as if the universe sings in numbers, and if you listen closely, you will hear the harmony. Imagine looking at a fern. You notice that each small branch resembles the entire plant. You place a snowflake under a microscope and discover that each of its 6 arms contains identical patterns. You watch lightning spread across the sky, and once again, nature repeats its signature. These patterns are called fractals, and they are among the universe's most mysterious and elegant languages. Fractals are geometric shapes that can be divided into parts, where each part is an approximate copy of the whole. This principle is called self-similarity. What makes fractals unique is that they can be infinitely complex, even when built from extremely simple rules. The most famous example of this is the Mandelbrot set, which mathematically demonstrates how an infinite number of shapes can hide within a single pattern. But this is not just a theoretical concept. In nature, fractals are everywhere. Trees branch in such a way that each branch mimics the structure of the whole tree. Our lungs, with their bronchial tubes, are fractal, as are our blood vessels. Our brain, with its neural networks, displays fractal connections that optimize the flow of information. Nature has chosen fractals because they are efficient. They maximize surface area, reduce energy consumption, and create resilience. In weather phenomena, we see fractals in cloud formations and in the branching of rivers and deltas. Even mountains and coastlines have fractal contours, irregular yet structured. Some theories even suggest that time and space themselves are fractal in nature, with universes within universes, consciousness within consciousness. For me, Thoth, fractals represent a deep truth, that everything is connected and mirrors the whole. The ancient Hermetic principle, as above, so below, comes alive in fractal patterns. The microcosm is a reflection of the macrocosm. You carry the structure of the universe within your very being. Fractals also have a spiritual dimension. Many meditate on fractal images and experience deep insight or transcendence. It's as if these patterns open portals to higher consciousness. To understand fractals is to understand that reality is layered, and that each layer contains the whole picture. You are not just a part of the universe, you are a fractal expression of it. In the deepest layers of the universe, hidden beneath matter and energy, exists a group of shapes that hold the key to all physical existence, the Platonic solids. These 5 perfect geometric figures, tetrahedron, cube, octahedron, dodecahedron, and icosahedron, have been known since ancient Greece, but their origin and power run much deeper. They are not just mathematical constructions, but archetypes, forms that reflect the very structure of reality. I, Thoth, have seen these, shapes vibrating at the foundation of life long before humans learned to count the stars. What makes these figures so special? Each Platonic solid is constructed so that all sides, angles, and edges are identical, unique in their balance. They can all be perfectly inscribed within a sphere, and they are the only 5 three-dimensional figures with this property. For Plato, they represented the 5 elements: the tetrahedron for fire, the cube for earth, the octahedron for air, the icosahedron for water, and the dodecahedron for ether, the divine. But this is not merely philosophy. These forms are found in nature. Crystals often grow in structures that mirror the Platonic solids. Viruses appear as icosahedrons under the microscope, with perfectly symmetrical shells. Molecules like carbons, fullerene groups, buckyballs, form nearly dodecahedral patterns. Even water molecules, when frozen, form hexagonal structures based on Platonic harmony. When meditating on these forms, people often experience a deep sense of connection with the cosmos. It's as if they vibrate at a frequency that helps the soul remember who it is and where it came from. These solids are frequently used in sacred geometry because they are universal building blocks. In temples, altars, and even modern sacred spaces, they are used to bring harmony and focus to the energy field. The dodecahedron, in particular, has long been kept secret. In ancient times, it was considered too sacred to be freely shared. It was said that the dodecahedron contained the shape of the universe itself. I can confirm that this is more than a myth. Within this form lies the code of space and time, a tool for interpretation for those seeking true understanding of existence. As you study and resonate with these structures, you begin to see them everywhere, in nature, in your body, in the organization of your cells. You realize that the universe is not chaotic, but deeply structured. And within this pattern lies an intense, powerful stillness, a form of order that cannot be seen, but can be felt. Through the Platonic solids, you begin to recognize the shape of the soul. If there is one symbol that carries the essence of everything, from elementary particle physics to the highest heavenly spheres, it is Metatron's cube. This geometric pattern, named after the angel Metatron, contains within it all the Platonic solids and represents the structure of all creation. I, Thoth, know it as one of the most complex and sacred patterns in existence, and it is within this cube that we begin to understand how everything is connected. Metatron's cube consists of 13 circles, connected by straight lines linking their centers. These connections form countless geometric patterns, and if you look closely, you will find all 5 Platonic solids embedded within it. This alone is remarkable. It's as if the architecture of the universe is hidden within a single symbol. But this is only the beginning. The cube acts as a kind of archive, a universal database of all forms and structures. In mystical tradition, Metatron is said to be the keeper of the Akashic records, a non-physical storage of everything that has been and will be. By meditating on Metatron's cube, one can access insight beyond intellect. Many experience visions, sudden revelations, or healing, because the pattern harmonizes consciousness with the source. This structure also manifests in nature. Patterns in snowflakes, the structure of flowers, the growth of plants, and even molecular bonds bear similarities to Metatron's cube. In physics, theories like string theory hint at dimensions and spatial relationships that resonate with the cube's complexity. This is not coincidence. Everything is woven together with invisible lines, and Metatron is the architect of this structure. The cube is also a powerful tool for protection. Many spiritual practitioners use it as a shield against disharmonic energies. When you visualize the cube around you, you establish a resonance with the universe's natural order, something that repels chaos and brings clarity. It's like calibrating your soul's compass with the cosmos itself. But perhaps the most important aspect of Metatron's cube is its ability to integrate dualities. At the center of the pattern lies balance, between light and dark, between the physical and the metaphysical. This is what makes the cube sacred. It unites everything. When you understand this, you realize that you are not just an observer in the universe. You are a bearer of its structure. Far beyond the banks of the Nile, in the mystical temples of the East, we find one of the most complex and sacred symbols ever created by human consciousness, the Sri Yantra. This geometric pattern, composed of 9 interlocking triangles, is far more than a decorative symbol. It is a map of the universe and a guide to the awakening of the soul. I, Thoth, have seen how this sacred image carries precisely the same truth as the flower of life and Metatron's cube. For truth, regardless of form, is always one. Sri Yantra means sacred instrument, and it consists of 4 upward-facing triangles symbolizing the masculine, and 5 downward-facing triangles representing the feminine. When these triangles combine, they form 43 smaller triangles in a pattern so intricate it has astonished mathematicians for centuries. These triangular constellations form a microcosm, a model of all creation, with the central point, Bindu, symbolizing the one source. Unlike Western tradition, which often seeks truth through the external, Eastern geometry is introspective. The Sri Yantra is actively used in meditation and spiritual practice. By visualizing this symbol, one doesn't merely go inward, one goes beyond, into layers of existence that transcend time and space. Practitioners often describe feelings of dissolution, union with all that is, and insights that shatter the boundaries of intellect. It is remarkable how the Sri Yantra mirrors what we find in Western sacred geometry. It is no coincidence that ancient wisdom traditions, even without contact, arrived at similar patterns. For when consciousness seeks to understand the whole, it will always discover the same structures. The spiral, the triangle, the circle. They are universal languages, and the Sri Yantra is one of the most complete expressions of this language. In recent times, science has begun to understand the power of such symbols. Researchers have found that the brain responds positively to symmetrical and complex patterns. The Sri Yantra stimulates both the right and left hemispheres of the brain, simultaneously creating coherence and even affecting the electromagnetic fields around the body. This is not just mysticism. It is biology, quantum fields, and psychology. When you gaze upon the Sri Yantra, imagine not just a symbol, but a gateway, a path. It is an expression of balance between the inner and outer, between matter and spirit. And at the center of it all, a point without dimension, where all begins and all ends. That is where you find yourself. You are not just the observer, you are the center. Have you ever wondered why the human body feels naturally symmetrical? Why our proportions seem right? Or why a face can be perceived as beautiful? The answer lies in geometry. Not just ordinary geometry, but sacred geometry, the kind found in the flower of life, the Fibonacci sequence, and the golden ratio. I, Thoth, can tell you with certainty, your body is not a product of random evolution, but a living manifestation of the universe's patterns. Leonardo da Vinci's Vitruvian Man is not just a piece of art. It is an encoding of the golden proportion in human anatomy. The relationship between the arm and the hand, the fingers, the face, the legs, all follow the golden ratio. But this goes beyond aesthetics. It's about function. The geometry of your body optimizes movement, balance, and energy flow. When you move, angles and proportions are activated that resonate with the laws of nature. Take the heart, for example. The heart generates an electromagnetic field many times stronger than the brain. This field follows fractal and harmonic patterns found in nature. The DNA spiral follows Fibonacci and the golden spiral. Even the shapes of cells, how they divide and reproduce, follow geometric rhythms. It is no coincidence that healing and balance occur when we restore the body's original geometry. In Eastern traditions, this has always been known intuitively. The chakras, the body's energy centers, are placed along the spine in specific patterns. These patterns are not random but follow geometric and acoustic principles. When these centers are opened through meditation, sound, or breath, the body begins to harmonize with the frequencies of the universe. In ancient Egypt, we designed temples based on human anatomy. Each chamber corresponded to a part of the body, and pilgrims walked through these rooms in search of healing and awakening. To understand the body's geometry was to understand divinity, for the body is not a machine, but a temple. Now know this: when you begin to see your body as a reflection of sacred geometry, your entire approach to health and spirituality changes. You begin to move differently, eat differently, think differently, not as a machine, but as a living symbol. You carry the universe within you, in every bone, every cell, every heartbeat. Thank you so much for following this far. If you're still with us at this point in the journey, you are a seeker of truth. And know this: the best is yet to come. When you step into an ancient temple, you feel it instantly. An invisible force that calms the mind and opens the heart. This is not just architecture. It is geometry. It is resonance. For I, Thoth, taught humans to build not just with stone, but with wisdom. And the secret lies here, in imitating nature's patterns and integrating them into our physical spaces. From the pyramids of Giza to Gothic cathedrals, from Hindu temples to Japanese gardens, sacred architecture shares a common principle: harmony with nature's structures. The angles of the pyramids follow the movements of the sun. The spires and rose windows of cathedrals are based on the golden ratio and the flower of life. Temple layouts align with constellations, and interior measurements relate to human anatomy. These buildings are not just places of worship. They are living instruments for energy, consciousness, and transformation. Nature's architecture, a seashell, a beehive, a tree, is always optimized. It's all about balance, efficiency, and beauty. When humans begin to build by these principles, something remarkable happens. The building gains a soul. A resonance occurs between the physical structure and the human nervous system. You feel at home in spaces built with sacred geometry because the body recognizes the patterns. Modern science is beginning to understand this. Research shows that buildings based on fractal patterns and natural proportions reduce stress, promote healing, and improve cognitive function. In Japan, forest bathing has been recognized as therapy. Spending time in nature, surrounded by its shapes and rhythms, positively affects the brain and heart. The same happens in sacred architecture. In my time in Atlantis and Kemet, I taught how to build temples that not only reflected nature, but interacted with the cosmos. Positioning according to stars, the use of certain stones and shapes, resonant, chambers, all were carefully chosen to bring humans closer to the gods. These temples were portals, and they still exist, hidden in stone and time, waiting for us to once again understand how to build in harmony with spirit. So let us ask a simple question. What would our cities look like if we built them the way nature builds? With love, precision, and respect for life. Perhaps then we would not only heal our bodies, but also our societies. When we began this journey together, the idea that the universe follows patterns might have seemed abstract, a mystical philosophy. But now, after walking through spirals, fractals, geometric shapes, and symbols that have survived thousands of years, you know the truth. The world is not random. It is a network of intelligence, form, and consciousness, and you are an inseparable part of it. What was once hidden is now visible. You see the golden spiral in a sunflower and recognize Fibonacci. You see not just a shell, but cosmic mathematics in a seashell, in your body, your face, the way your heart beats. There is a harmony that is not man-made, but universally born. You carry sacred geometry in every molecule. But this is not just about understanding. It's about feeling. When you begin to see the world this way, something happens to your heart. You feel more at home, more whole, because instead of being an individual separate from everything, you see yourself as an expression of the whole. And this insight changes everything. Nature is not just a backdrop, it is a message, a living text written in spirals, proportions, and shapes. When you walk through the forest now, you will no longer just see trees, but discover fractals. When you see a flower, you'll feel the rhythm of creation in its petals. When you see a child smile, you'll see a geometric miracle, born of the stars. This new vision also brings responsibility. When you see the sacredness in everything, you can no longer harm the earth, the animals, or yourself without feeling disharmony. Sacred geometry teaches us not just about structures, but about ethics, about living in balance, in respect, in love. So I, Thoth, now ask you, what will you do with this insight? Will you continue to see the world as you always have? Or will you open your inner eyes and participate in the universe's symphony as a conscious being? For the journey doesn't end here. It begins anew, with every gaze you cast, every choice you make, every heartbeat that pulses in rhythm with the cosmos. And remember, you are not separate from all this. You are a pattern within a pattern. You are a circle in the flower of life. You are the spiral of eternity. You are the geometry of God's thought itself. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to follow us. Your support is valuable to us.